so far to harbor life. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand.
Time to talk some sci-fi video games, everyone. I've got some thoughts about this series that I want to get off my chest, and I've decided now is the time to do it. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about Mass Effect. The Mass Effect Trilogy is a series of third-person sci-fi adventure games developed by BioWare, with the three main games being released in 2007, 2010, and 2012. There was an attempted spin-off called Mass Effect Andromeda, which, to my understanding, has been universally panned and rejected by critics and gamers alike. In the first three games, the player takes on the role of Commander Shepard, a charismatic soldier whose gender history continues to forget in a futuristic navy composed of multiple alien species, in a fight to stop the Reapers, a race of sentient machines that periodically sweep the galaxy to eliminate all organic life. It is somewhat unique among role-playing style games in that Commander Shepard isn't so much an empty vessel for the player to sit themselves in, but rather his or her own character that the player occasionally influences in small ways. The player can choose to be a male or female Shepard, with the male voiced by Mark Meer, and the female played by, in what I consider to be the superior performance, Jennifer Hale. While the action sequences of the game tend to be a little generic, the series is acclaimed for its narrative, character development, voice acting, the universe, and emphasis on how player choice affects the experience. What I like about the Mass Effect games are small, subtle things. Little bits of lore, character development, Easter eggs, and thoughtful developer choices litter each and every game, and I can think of no sensible way to organize them, so I won't. Let's pick some at random. Sound design. Sound design is key to a good experience. Would Jurassic Park's T-Rex be as terrifying as it is if it didn't roar like this? Would Darth Vader be as intimidating as he is without the alterations made to James Earl Jones's already serious timbre? Mass Effect is no exception to this rule. Much of it comes through the Reapers themselves. At first, they might seem a little silly to look at, giant purple robot cuttlefish, but then you hear the sounds they make. This extends beyond the machines themselves. The Reapers use a process called indoctrination to brainwash and physically mutate organic beings, creating slave monsters that are frequently a terrifying and haunting, ghoulish version of what they once were. While the human variant is a little boring, a glowing zombie that sounds like it came out of a Call of Duty game, the other species tend to be more off-putting. Brutes, for instance, are an amalgamation of the tactically brilliant Turians and the powerful Krogans, ending up with an enormous creature that rushes at you making these sounds. However, easily the most terrifying is what happens to the Asari, a monogender race of decidedly female beings with extremely powerful biotic abilities. They are turned into the Banshee after indoctrination, a lumbering monster with warped body proportions that slowly teleports toward the player while making this horrific sound. And of course, there are other in-game sounds that are straight up impressive and immersive. Take for instance the sounds that come from using the mass relays, ancient technology that allows spaceships to travel faster than the speed of light. World building. The world of Mass Effect is like a more out-there version of Star Trek. In this world, there is an ancient alien site called the Citadel, a massive space station that is operated by the Citadel Council, with representatives from multiple races. Council was formed initially by the Asari and the Solarians, the latter of whom are warm-blooded amphibians that speak and think very quickly due to a lifespan of a mere 40 years. Later, the Turians became council members, an avian species with a militaristic and highly disciplined culture. The fourth species to become council members were humans, added with some reluctance from the other species. A number of associate races exist on the Citadel with their own embassies. The mole-like and shrewd Volus, who wear a suit to compensate for their inability to breathe oxygen. The Keepers, insectoids that appear to only exist in order to maintain the Citadel, and thus it is illegal to disturb their work. The Hanar, overly polite religious jellyfish who hide their true names and are rather amusing to listen to speak.
Do you desire to learn of the Enkindlers? Or has the Honorable CSEC officer enlisted assistance?
Are you allowed to preach here in the Presidium?
The words this unworthy one speaks are merely observations of the truth.
The Drell, reptilian monk-like beings who owe a debt to the Hanar for being saved from their dying homeworld. Last but not least, my personal favorite, the Elkor. These are massive four-legged beings from a high-gravity planet, which learn to move slowly due to a home where a mere fall can be fatal. This also colors the way they speak and act, making them somewhat reminiscent of Tolkien's Ents. My favorite aspect of the Elkor is the way they speak. Instead of emoting the way humans do, Elkor language uses body language, scent, and sound inaudible to human ears. To compensate, when speaking English, Elkor will subtitle their speech with the tone of voice that it's meant to be said in. Here's an example.
Surprised welcome. You have returned, human. Genuine inquiry. What may I do for you this day?
Why do you explain what you're about to say?
Our people communicate less through words and more through scent and slight movements. Plainly, we discovered our vocal expression was not enough to convey the feelings of our conversations to other species.
Why do you bother, Kalen? These Earth Clan don't really care about our ways.
Remorseful response, Din. You don't truly believe that, and if you do, I am very sorry for you.
Oddly enough, despite the monotone delivery, moments of true heartbreak can be felt with the Elkor. In Mass Effect 3, the player has an optional mission to rescue Elkor from their home planet.
Holding sorrow. Our warriors are under siege, but your forces can rescue them. Urgently, please. All the other races have turned us aside.
I'll take the Normandy as soon as we have time.
Relief. Thank you, Commander. Small hope. Perhaps we can evacuate some of our civilians when your forces arrive. Anxiously, I will remain here for news. Please hurry. Takuna burns.
After completing this mission and saving the Elkor, this exchange is had.
We got your people off to Kuna, Ambassador.
Utterly sincere. Thank you for your assistance, Commander. This is not a debt we can repay.
Were you able to evacuate any civilians?
Yes,
How many?
not enough.
Gut-wrenching, isn't it? Here, let me lift the mood. There is also a famous all-Elkor rendition of Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Now available on video, the abridged version of Francis Kidd's award-winning production of Hamlet, featuring an all-Elkor cast.
Nostalgic melancholy. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy, deep accusation. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar.
And don't forget to catch Elkor Hamlet live, an unforgettable 14-hour experience.
Insincere endorsement. You have not experienced Shakespeare until you have heard him in the voice of Elkor.
There are a number of non-Citadel species that the player will encounter, usually in a hostile way. The pirate-like Batarians, the self-regenerating but short-living Vorsha, the angry and tribal Krogans, and the immune-compromised Quarians who live exclusively on spaceships after their own robots took over their home planet, to name just a few. Over the course of the 3 games, a rich tapestry is painted of a world with all of the prejudice and assimilation problems that we have today, told in a unique and beautiful way. Voice acting. Storytelling has come a long way since video games first came around. Especially nowadays, there are some truly incredible and inventive ways of divulging information and plot to the player, and not the least important of which has been a notable improvement in voice acting. Gone are the days of Oblivion NPCs doing 2 takes in 1 dialogue clip.
The armor. Good day. I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane University, the Imperial Legion compound, and the temple all on the same night. Wait a minute, let me do that one again. I heard that thieves broke into the Arcane...
Now there are video games that exist solely for the player to experience good voice acting.
It's really going.
I'm gonna call it in. They'll send in a hotshot crew for some suppression, but I bet we'll be stuck with her for the rest of the summer. And she doesn't have a name yet.
Now, we have the likes of Jennifer Hale. You've heard this woman's voice before. Her filmography is the size of the Vietnam War Memorial, but the role that truly elevates the entire series is her portrayal of Commander Shepard. Now, Mark Meer did a fine job himself, but just listen to these back to back, and you tell me who wore it better.
This war has brought us pain and suffering and loss. But it's also brought us together. As soldiers, allies, friends.
This war has brought us pain and suffering and loss. But it's also brought us together. As soldiers, allies, friends.
The next few hours will decide the fate of everyone in the galaxy. Every mother, every son, every unborn child.
The next few hours will decide the fate of everyone in the galaxy. Every mother, every son, every unborn child.
Hale and Meer are backed up by some superb casting of supporting characters. The pilot of the Normandy, for instance, is voiced by Seth Green, who does a surprisingly good job of doing a serious science fiction role.
Commander, you've got a priority message from Admiral Hackett requesting to come aboard.
Keith David, the voice of Halo's Arbiter as well as many other roles, voices Captain David Anderson, who becomes an admiral in the 3rd game.
We're making a covert pickup on Eden Prime. That's why we needed the stealth systems operational.
Liara Tassoni, the most prominent Asari character, is voiced by Ali Hillis, another exceptional character actor who I guarantee you've heard before.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Making smaller appearances throughout the series are Star Trek's Marina Sirtis.
Her children were to be ours, raised to hunt and slay Saren's enemies. I won't be moved by sympathy.
Battlestar Galactica's Trisha Helfer and Michael Hogan.
Yes, I see the problem already, Commander Shepard. My console says you're dead.
Is there a particular topic you wish to discuss, Shepard?
Adam Baldwin.
Shepard, Telizora, good to see you both. Wish you were under better circumstances.
Lance Henriksen.
Never before have so many come together from all quarters of the galaxy.
And Martin Sheen as the mysterious elusive man.
A necessary precaution. Not unusual for people who know what you and I know.
All of this talent tossed into a giant soup pot brings out some of the most entertaining dialogue in a video game that there ever was. The ending. A lot of people were disappointed with the ending of the Mass Effect trilogy. Players fought hard through 2 games in order to stop the invasion of an army of sentient mechanical giant cuttlefish from wiping out the galaxy, and in the end, they basically fail. The Reapers still reach Earth, they still all but obliterate it, and nearly every colonized world in the Milky Way is taken and indoctrinated by the ancient killer machines. Players described feeling like Mass Effect 3 was a funeral march that negated the entire plot of the first 2 games. Personally, I disagree. Maybe it's because I started with the 3rd game, unaware of its reputation. I had a great time with it, and was especially engrossed with the sound design, world building, and voice performances of the game. I eventually went back and played the other 2 games, and I also enjoyed them, particularly 2, which I would argue might be the best game in the series. However, I didn't get that hopeless feeling replaying Mass Effect 3. Why? Because the entire trilogy the Reapers told me this would happen. Maybe people wanted the heroic ending. Maybe they wanted the Citadel races to persevere and overcome. But throughout all 3 games, what did the Reapers say?
There is a realm of existence so far beyond your own, you cannot even imagine it. I am beyond your comprehension. I am sovereign, rudimentary creatures of blood and flesh. You touch my mind, fumbling in ignorance, incapable of understanding. Reaper, a label created by the Protheans to give voice to their destruction. In the end, what they chose to call us is irrelevant. We simply are. Organic life is nothing but a genetic mutation. An accident. Your lives are measured in years and decades. You wither and die. We are eternal. The pinnacle of evolution and existence. Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. We are the end of everything. Confidence born of ignorance. The cycle cannot be broken. The pattern has repeated itself more times than you can fathom. Organic civilizations rise, evolve, advance, and at the apex of their glory, they are extinguished. My kind transcends your very understanding. We are each a nation, independent, free of all weakness. You cannot even grasp the nature of our existence. We have no beginning. We have no end. We are infinite. Millions of years after your civilization has been eradicated and forgotten, we will endure. We are legion. The time of our return is coming. Our numbers will darken the sky of every world. You cannot escape your doom. We impose order on the chaos of organic evolution. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. Your civilization is based on the technology of the mass relays. Our technology. By using it, your society develops along the paths we desire. The Protheans were not the first. They did not create the Citadel. They did not forge the mass relays. They merely found them. The legacy of my kind. Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.
They were warning us the entire time. These exchanges with the Reapers, to me, sealed the final fate of the game. It's sort of like reading Speaker for the Dead. Throughout that novel, the piggies keep telling everyone that their ancestors are the trees. At the end, somehow, the reader is surprised to learn that the piggies' ancestors are, wait for it, the trees. In the same way, the Reapers' threats prove to be prophetic. They truly cannot be stopped, and the cycle truly cannot be broken. Throughout the game, the player should get hints of this. You can count on one hand the number of Reapers you manage to kill in the game. One of these is achieved by pitting the Titanic machine against an equally enormous underground worm creature. Another is achieved by having an entire orbital fleet continuously bombard the Reaper into submission. This, to me, is another instance of the game warning you. This is how hard they are to kill, and their numbers are uncountable. Even looking at the first moments of the trilogy's final battle, it seems obvious that this is a fight that cannot be won. With the entire galaxy firing every single gun that exists at them, the Reapers just keep coming. So, how do you end a story like that in a satisfactory way? In my opinion, you've got to get a little meta, and that's exactly what I think the Mass Effect games did. To me, it's all about the indoctrination. The procedure of how the Reapers infect the minds and bodies of the species they encounter is kept somewhat mysterious. It's not clear what an indoctrinated individual goes through during the transition, but there are many theories that Commander Shepard is actively being indoctrinated by the time the first game ends. With this in mind, the final sequences of the game raise questions about what's real and what isn't, and what's right and what's wrong. The key moment is the final decision. Shepard, near death and standing in the core of the Citadel, is given three options. Destruction, represented by the red light on the right side. Control, represented by the blue light on the left side. Third option, represented by the green light in the middle, is synthesis. These are the choices: destroy the Reapers, control the Reapers, or synthesize with the Reapers. Now, allow me to throw the wrench into the gears. Mass Effect utilizes a morality system. Throughout the story, Shepard is given choices that will give them either Paragon points or Renegade points. The implication is that Paragon choices are positive and virtuous, while Renegade choices are negative and destructive. They're also color-coded. Paragon is blue, Renegade is red. Think about that. Paragon is blue, Renegade is red. The player is trained to remember this, and then is presented with this choice. Now, the game is telling the player that destroying the Reapers is the bad choice. To me, this is a clear indication that the Reapers are in Shepard's head, telling him or her not to do it. In the end, we are presented with a dilemma that there does not seem to be any good solution to. As it should be. The cycle cannot be broken. Problems and contradictions. No good review is complete without acknowledging the flaws of the reviewed content. With that said, Mass Effect is far from a perfect series of games. The first game is extremely clunky in many of its mechanics, and I'm extremely glad that the second game dropped the obnoxious surface exploration moments. It's replaced with an only slightly less monotonous orbital resourcing system, which is then dumbed down further in the third game. These are the filler sections. They're the most boring parts of all three games. Speaking of filler, if you don't like excessive dialogue, you will not like this series. A very large portion of it consists of simply holding conversations with other characters. If you do not find the following 30 seconds fascinating, you will not enjoy these games.
The Krogan is in no position to make demands.
The Krogan has a name. Urdnot Rex. And I'm not just some junkyard Varen you unleash whenever you're in trouble. I've got my own problems. Reaper scouts have arrived on Tuchanka. So why should I care if a few Turians go extinct?
Trying to draw out negotiations will get you nowhere, Rex. I have no time for it. Just tell us what you want.
So, Mass Effect. Beautifully constructed, with little moments of brilliance hidden within. Though a little chunky, with love handles made of filler content and put down the controller moments. Check it out if this review has in any way piqued your interest. All I know is that I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite YouTube channel on the Citadel.
Why can't it act in an orderly and lawful manner?
Because it's a big stupid jellyfish.
If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe and turn on the bell for notifications. If you want to support me further, consider becoming a member or a patron, or checking out my merch or my Amazon links. Thank you, and I will see you over the curve, Space Cowboys.
In a vast, cosmic arena. Our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some